Hello students, now we are going to start the section plant physiology and we are going to begin with plant growth in it. That how does a plant grow in size? It starts from a seed, it increases to the size of a sapling, then it grows to the size of a plantlet, then it further grows into the size of a tree, which is quite huge. So how does that growth take place? And one thing you might have observed, that plants keep on growing their entire life. First thing that comes in mind is that the plant growth, if we are talking about, that is going to be indeterminate. Okay? When I say indeterminate, supposedly if I'm talking about human body, its growth is determinate, that the limbs would grow up to this size, the head size would grow up to this size, eyeballs, if they are grown, they would retain the same size as at the time of birth. In case of plant, you never know from where a branch would grow, from where the roots, till which place the roots are going to penetrate, where the leaves would grow, because that growth is basically indeterminate. Okay, so because it is unfixed, that is why we term that plant growth is indeterminate. What is to be seen importantly in plant growth is that it is open type of growth. Okay, when I say open type of growth, it means that the growth is not going to stop entire life. Okay, why it is not going to stop entire life? In the entire life of the plant, it just keeps on growing due to the presence of meristem. Now meristem, what is meristem? We'll come to that. The open form of growth means the plant is going to grow its entire life. It is going to grow in size, in its dry weight, its tonnage. It is going to increase its size as well as with the preceding age. The size of the tree would increase. The plant would keep on adding the dry weight or biomass to itself. That is known as open form of growth. Now why a plant is having open type of growth? It is due to the presence of meristem. Now the question arises, what is a meristem? Meristem is a special type of tissue. All you need to understand is that it is a special type of tissue which is present in the plants, which gives rise to the new tissue every time. That means this meristem is never going to stop dividing. It is going to give rise to the tissue and the tissue to cells, pardon me. Meristem tissue, meristematic tissue is going to give rise to new cells. Those cells would have the ability to divide and self-perpetuate, but that self-perpetuation would be for a limited period. But talking about this meristem, it is never going to stop dividing. It is going to give rise to new cells which would not be differentiated. So over here, I introduce a term differentiated. To differentiate in plant growth means that to take the work, basically what all work a cell has to do, that would be taken up by it. That means it would undergo some structural specialization so that it could perform a specific work. But what the meristematic cells are having, they are going to give rise to meristematic cells further and further. That means they are not going to lose their ability to divide. They are going to retain that ability for entire life period of the plant. Okay. Now this meristematic tissue, it is present in the plant in the apices. Now what is apices? Apex basically. There are two apex in the plant. You know, when we draw a plant, it is like this: downwards the root is going and upwards the shoot is going. Upper apex would be shoot apex and lower would be the root apex. So this meristem is present in the root apex and the shoot apex. Now the cells keep on dividing and adding the cells to the root and the shoot system. So there is indeterminate growth which is taking place and differentiation would take place and the meristem stays at the tips. Okay, so that is why we call this meristem as apical meristem. So there is elongation as we see in the axis of the plant. So the meristem that is present at the apices is known as apical meristem, which is present in the shoot is known as, at the tip of shoot is known as shoot apical meristem. That is present at the tip of root would be known as root apical meristem. They would be continuously dividing and adding up the cells. Now When we talk about meristem, that is giving rise to some sort of growth in the plant, we do talk about there are two types of growths which take in the plant. Okay, one is the increase in length or height, as we can see, and other is you never see a plant, tender plant, growing to many feet of height with that slender stem. It grows in girth as well. So the increase in length is known as primary growth, and the increase in girth is known as secondary growth. Okay, it is height or length as we call across the apex, and that is radially, that is increase in girth. Primary growth would be due to shoot apical meristem and root apical meristem, and the secondary growth which would be taking place in the plant would be due to another meristem which is present, known as, it is present laterally, that is known as lateral meristem, or we call it vascular cambium. We deal with these terms in the anatomical aspects of a plant, but for now, because we are dealing with the growth, we need to understand that this vascular cambium which is present laterally in the plant would give rise to increase in girth of the plant, that is the growth of the plant laterally, and one would be responsible for the increase in length of the plant that would be present at the apex. Root and shoot apical meristem and the vascular cambium give rise to two types of growth, primary and secondary. Now the next question that comes in mind is regarding growth, and we need to understand is, can the plant growth be measured? Yes, we can measure the plant growth. Of course not in the terms of protoplasmic growth, that is a difficult aspect, but we can measure the growth in terms of increase in dry matter, increase in wet matter. In those terms, we can measure the growth. We can measure the growth in increase in length, it can be increase in girth, the biomass production that the plant is undertaking, that all is the measurement of growth which is done. Alright, we study the measurement patterns, how the measurement is done in case of plants, what are the various instruments and tools which could be used for measurement of plant growth. But for once, you just need to understand that how the plant growth can be measured. Okay, mostly it is in terms of dry matter, dry weight as we call it, or in the case of wet matter, that is the biomass production that is taking place. Now, when we talk about growth, we have to consider another important aspect, that how this growth takes place. It is because growth is a time consuming process. Growth is function of time basically. It has various phases. Now those phases, there are three phases in the process of growth. One is meristematic phase. Then after meristematic phase, the cells which are produced as a result of meristematic division. You know, whenever growth is taking place, there is continuous cell division behind it. New cells are being added, and that is done by the meristematic growth. New cells are being added by the meristematic divisions. The cells present in meristem are undergoing continuous divisions and they are adding to the growth. And the next one is elongation. Whatever cells are formed by these meristematic cells, they would undergo the process of elongation. They would elongate in the size. That is why you see such elongation, lengthwise growth in the plant. That is due to the elongation. And the third one is maturation. After the elongation has taken place, we would analyze in the next section the parts of root, the zones of root where the growth has taken place. But for now, for a broader idea, you need to understand that all the cells that were formed as a result of meristematic divisions, they would undergo the process of elongation. Once the elongation has taken place, finally, the cells would undergo the process of differentiation, where they would take all those protoplasmic qualifications which are required for performing a particular function. By qualifications, I mean that some modification in the protoplasm would take place which would enable the cell to perform a particular function when it comes in the tissue composition of the plant. So let us see what happens in the phase of meristematic growth. When the cells of the meristem are dividing, you have to understand that what is the specificity of those particular cells. They are highly rich in protoplasm. The nucleus is small. They are very much, they are smaller in size first of all. There is a lot of protoplasm present in the cells because they are continuously dividing, alright. And there would be a nucleus. Not much organelles would be present over there because their main purpose is division only. and because they are dividing and giving rise to new cells, so their cell wall is also primary, and there are a lot of plasmodesmatal connections present in the primary cell walls of the adjacent cells. So this is the characteristic of the meristematic growth, that whichever cell would be undergoing meristematic growth, it would have a rich protoplasm inside it, small nucleus, it would be very small in size, it would be ready for division, and it would have primary cell walls. No deposition of secondary cell wall would be over there, and there would be lot many plasmodesmatal connections. After the division is complete, the meristematic cell retain their division ability. The other cells which are formed as a result of meristematic division, they enter into the phase of elongation. Now, whenever elongation has to take place, there would be large increase in the vacuolar composition. So, large vacuoles are formed inside the cell. As you see that elongation is a result of increased vacuolation inside the cells. Supposedly the vacuole was this small, so it would increase in size, it would take a lot of water inside it and increase the size of the cell, and the cell would enlarge. Along with the enlargement of the cell due to vacuolation, there would be deposition of secondary wall. So, the primary cell wall would be replaced by secondary cell wall, and once this has taken place, the cell would undergo to the next stage. Cell would enter the next stage, that is the stage of maturation. It would undergo differentiation over here, like it wants some sort of thickening. Supposedly there is a specific tissue, it needs thickenings over there, so the thickenings would come so that the cell is ready for performing the function whichever is required from it. That process is known as maturation. So these are the three phases of the growth, where basically the cell division starts over here. Here it grows in size, and once it has attained its complete size, now it brings all the changes inside it which are required for performing a particular function in the tissue composition of the plant. So these are the phases of growth. This is an overview. We are going to study in detail by the structure of root. We are going to understand how these phases are shown in a root, and we are going to see how the growth can be measured in the coming lectures. Thank you.